One of my goals is to make sure that you can't walk in a university without coming across veganism. Every social movement happens because there is a minority that is vocal, there is dedicated, determined group of people who actually do something about it. You know, you do you, man.
Yeah.
You would never say that to someone who's like beating a dog, right? I'm not beating dogs, you do you. That's exactly one of my goals with Allied Scholars, because we study the animal rights movement in universities. First of all, most universities don't have a group, and those who have, for 2 years, one student comes, does something, and everything dies. Another 2 years, and another 2 years. And it's just so inefficient and ineffective.
So I'm here at UPenn with Dr. Faraz Harsini and Allied Scholars for Animal Protection. And we've been talking to students, we've been doing dog meat, we've been doing Q milk, and it's just been a great time so far. But I don't know if everyone knows who you are. So Dr. Faraz, do you want to sort of introduce yourself and tell us a little about you?
Yeah, my name is Dr. Faraz Harsini. I'm the CEO and founder of Allied Scholars for Animal Protection. Basically, I am obsessed with education. I think the biggest regret of my life is how long it took me to become vegan. And I think if some random stranger showed me the footage and said, hey, wake up, I would have done it a lot faster. And so I want to be that guy who goes to other people and educate them about, you know, one of the biggest atrocities of all time. And I think universities is one of the best places to do that. So my organization, it's a nonprofit, Allied Scholars for Animal Protection. We want to bring that education to universities because students are young, they're open-minded, they decide for the first time what they're going to eat outside of parents' house, and they're very likely to have impactful careers. So I'm here to just share with them what I've learned, but in a very systematic and extensive manner.
So what actually made you go vegan originally?
One of my friends about 11 years ago came to me and said, Faraz, you say you love animals, but you eat them, it just doesn't make any sense. And I have to be honest that didn't really feel good. I felt like she was like, how dare you judging me? Like, I didn't say any of that, but this is what I was thinking. But after 3 months, I was like, she has a point. So today I'm very grateful for this person because we were friends, we were childhood friends, and you know, she risked losing me. But I love that because she thought that there is something important that she needed to tell me. Between saying the right thing and wanting my friendship, she decided to go with the former.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And because of that, I appreciate her so much more now, because I feel like if we really truly love each other, we want each other to do better. Like if we are friends and you have a bad habit, you know, I could be that good friend who tells you, hey, you know, you're doing awesome, you know, just keep smoking, you know, it's not really that bad for you. Or do you want me to be honest with you and say, hey man, it's not good for you, you know, I'm here for you, but this is the data, you're harming yourself, you're harming, etc. I'm here to help you change, to do better.
That's really interesting because I didn't know that. And so like, that was transformative for you in two ways, in both that it turned you into a vegan, but it sounds like it actually influenced the way you think about advocacy now.
Exactly, because I think a lot of times we're just too worried about if we speak up, someone might get offended, they might get upset. And I don't say that we should go out of our way to just make people upset. I think veganism at its core is coming from a place of kindness and compassion. But I don't think that fear of maybe pissing people off should prevent us from speaking the truth, because let's be honest, we are going against a society, we are the minority. So anything that we say, especially because it's related to food, which is very dear to a lot of people in so many ways, religion, culture, tradition, all that stuff, anything that we say, some people are gonna get offended, but some people will change. This is a very good case study because it shows that even when somebody initially gets offended, it doesn't mean that they're not gonna change.
100%.
Things start, the wheels start, you know, turning. It's also another good psychological experiment if you really think about it. There is no incentive for anyone to change if they're not uncomfortable. Like, why do I want to start going to the gym? Maybe because I don't like my weight, I don't like
or
how I look, or health, just want to be healthy. There is something that makes me uncomfortable, which pushes me to do. That discomfort is sometimes a necessity for us to actually change. So it's not necessarily a bad thing.
I liked what you said about, you know, your friend not being afraid. Like a good friend tells a friend sort of what they need to hear. There's this concept of like being passive, being aggressive, or being assertive. And, you know, in every book I've ever read about communication, including like therapy books, everyone says to use assertive communication. And assertive communication, it respects the other person and it also respects you, meaning that you're willing to tell them hard truths, but you're not an asshole about it, essentially. You know, that's what it boils down to. And so I do think a lot of people, you know, can be lulled into this passivity because they don't ever want to rock the boat. But rocking the boat is what makes change happen. There have been so many things in history that would be the same as they were 200 years ago if no one rocked the boat and said something assertive.
The crazy thing is, people actually respect you more when they see that you're being honest with them and there is a cause that you actually care about. And when they see that you're just trying to be fake and friendly and shy away from something that is your value, it actually backfires a lot of times. That's a problem that I have a lot of times with like, younger students, because they're like so worried about saying anything and pissing people off. I'm like, if you actually be honest with people, and let's be honest, we all have insecurities. I have insecurities. I was going to meet somebody, he was a PhD student at UT Austin in computer sciences, very well-read person, and I really wanted to connect with this person. But I knew that he was vegetarian, and I really just didn't want to go to a non-vegan place and see like animal products. But I had this dilemma because I wanted to meet him, but I also didn't want to be an asshole and say, hey, can we go to a vegan place? It just made me uncomfortable. The truth is, I wanted my own social community and whatever. I wanted that more than what I wanted to tell the truth, and that just made me even more annoyed. But what I've learned was all it took was going to this person and say, hey, I actually really want to meet with you, and this communication, this relationship really means a lot to me. But the truth is, when I see like animal products, it just makes me very uncomfortable because I remember what I've seen. Would you be willing to going to a vegan restaurant with me? And if that's not a possibility, I'll be happy to just go for a walk with you. And when I actually said that, he was like, no, definitely, let's just go to this place. And because I dared to actually say what I wanted, we ended up discussing veganism the whole time.
Wow.
And having a very good conversation. I think I actually made an impact. But the thing is, if I compromised, if I was so afraid, if we went to a non-vegan restaurant and he ordered something else, I would not have dared to actually challenge his ideas. So we are all, at the end of the day, we have insecurities, but we have to be very clear to ourselves. Do I need this relationship and friendship more than speaking the truth? And another thing I always say is like, do you like people who like to be liked, or do you like people who actually tell the truth? And if we look at the history, people that we really admire today, those are people who had the courage to speak up and see something wrong and say something about it, not people who just went with the flow.
Yeah, and I think this is interesting because you had a conversation with someone yesterday, actually, and I believe the guy, he was kind of joking around, he was giving you really unserious objections, and the conversation was kind of going off the rails. And then I think you said to him like, hey, look, man, I'm here to have a serious conversation. If you're not here to have a serious conversation, then we don't have to have it. And he like snapped all of a sudden, not snapped, got angry, but he snapped into it, and then he started having a more serious conversation because he respected that from you, right? Isn't that what?
Exactly. So I actually almost stepped away. I said, what happens to animals is very serious, and I'm here to have a serious conversation. This is not like funny to me. Do you want to have a serious conversation? And then we sort of reset the conversation, and from there we actually had a very productive conversation. When someone just wants to, just be funny and not take it seriously.
He was trolling you, essentially. He was like, he was trolling.
Yeah, exactly.
And as soon as you called him out on the trolling, he was like, okay, fine, I'll be a real human with you.
Yeah.
I respect that you told me that.
Yeah.
Even with your friend that you said there, if you hadn't said anything, you probably would have ended up kind of resenting it, and kind of it would have bothered you. He probably wouldn't have known very much. When you said something, it not only helped you to not resent him, but he respected you more, and it probably even brought you closer, because that's an intimate thing to be able to talk about hard topics,
Yeah.
And anytime that I've done that with either, my significant other or my friends and had those hard discussions, I've always felt closer to them afterwards, even if it was something that made them uncomfortable and me uncomfortable.
And I always say, I dedicate all of my time today to animal advocacy and veganism. And sort of when I trace it back, it really always goes back to my friend. I sometimes wonder, what if like all these people were walking around, maybe it takes a 5-minute conversation to get somebody to think that way. And I had those conversations. I talked to a person for 5 minutes, and that person is now dedicating their life as a scientist, not just like a passive vegan, but as a scientist to veganism. It just bothers me. It's like every time that I don't have the courage to speak up, maybe that person would be, maybe they have so much potential that I just lost because I just didn't have the courage. What's the worst that can happen, right?
Yeah, especially with a stranger. The stranger doesn't like you. They'll never remember you anyway. Exactly. I guess that kind of brings me to like, what is the ask here? Because most of the people watching this video, they're going to be vegans, not non-vegans, right? And I think that's kind of part of what you're doing here is trying to talk to non-vegans and get them to consider veganism, but there's a sort of second half to it. And sort of that's what I think this video is for. So what do you kind of want to say to the vegans who are watching now? Yeah,
I think for me, I just want to be very clear for anyone who's vegan and decided to put their selfish desires away and do the right thing despite the fact that most people aren't doing that. Mad respect, seriously. Thank you for having the courage to do that. The other thing I generally think about is veganism really shouldn't be a word, because veganism is really just a bare minimum. It's just not actively paying for animal exploitation. That's all it is. We don't have a word for somebody who doesn't rape, because that's just how things should be. We have a word for somebody who does that. We don't have a word for somebody who doesn't kill people. You know, we are not, so it's like, veganism is like, I'm not a murderer. So of course you're not supposed to do that, right? So we have a word for somebody who does that. But unfortunately, animal exploitation has become so normalized that we have to identify with a word. Where I'm going with this is that because of its neglectedness, because of the depth of suffering and how hidden it is, we have extra responsibility. Now that we have that piece of knowledge, we should be talking about it. Let me actually give you one example. In World War II, during Holocaust, most people in the world didn't have any idea what was happening to Jews. Like, there was like complete silence. I think there were a couple of people who actually escaped concentration camps, and they were trying to tell the world, I think we are just like those people who just escaped. We have seen this like massacre, right? We know what's happening. I was talking to a cop, it was with you. The guy thought like cows are engineered to always produce milk. These are things people don't even think about. So because now we have this knowledge, it sort of comes with a responsibility to like tell others about it, right? And if we really want to change the culture, we have that responsibility to first be vegan, and second, do our best. And I say do our best because that can be different things for different people. And I say, like, I don't have one solution that fits for everyone. I don't say everyone should hold the TV. I don't say everyone should become a scientist. But as long as you understand that veganism is not just a diet, it's an urgent thing. I mean, hello, veganism is a moral urgency, right? Yeah. As long as you understand that it's urgent and think about how would you go about it if it was any other form of oppression? How would you go about it if a dog was being beaten up in front of you? Would you be worried about being called judgmental and too pushy? Or would you just go there, call 911, maybe punch a person, maybe put yourself in between the dog and the person? People might do different things, but you do something. So as long as we understand that there is that sense of urgency and animals are dying with a rate of thousands per second, so thousands, I think I'm fine. I just want vegans to have the courage. I know we have it. The reason I'm passionate about this is just because I see that a lot of vegans are just so worried about saying anything. They just say things like, you do you, man. We would never say that to someone who's like beating a dog, right? I'm not beating dogs, you do you. Yeah. Or, hey, like look at my dog. I brought the dog from shelter, you can still beat the dog, but see how nice I am to this dog, right? We take action. I want to see like more active vegans. Yeah, vegans become active vegans, in some way. In some ways. Right, it doesn't mean screaming at people on the street, it could mean internet activism. You can even do activism sort of behind the scenes too, Like, so you can help people edit videos. Like, maybe you're not good at talking to people, but you're good at editing videos. Maybe you're good at making posters or things like that. There's all sorts of ways that a vegan can get active. You actually have a video about this. Yes. So it should go here. It should go here. But the most passive thing that is still active, still doing something, write a review. If you go to a non-vegan restaurant and you don't like the vegan options, they could always have more vegan options. Always write a positive review and say, hey, 3 star, I will come back if you have more vegan options. Until then, I'm gonna go to this other restaurant who has, that has more. Just, anything, just take actions, because my theory of change is really, we don't necessarily make the entire world go vegan. No social reform happened because the entire country or nation did the right thing. Like slavery, for instance, we didn't get rid of slavery because the entire US was against slavery. We literally went to war, But every social movement happens because there is a minority that is vocal, there is dedicated, determined group of people who actually do something about it. Yeah, I think something, that I've heard that is interesting is like if every vegan today turned like 1 person or 2 people vegan, and then each of those people next year turned 1 or 2 people vegan, and then the next year, like it would only take like 4 to 7 years to basically get well over that, that 25% hump that people talk about. Like once 25% of the population agrees with something, you get this snowball effect. And so obviously, I don't think that's gonna happen in the next 4 to 7 years. But the point is, it kind of could. If everyone really did get active and just convinced 1 or 2 people, we could get over that. And so, I think that is why it's so important to get people thinking that it's not just about them being vegan, that there is more they can do. And that's not to say, of course, and I don't think you're saying this, that
we want to put all this excess pressure on them, and if they're not doing activism, they're a terrible person. We don't want to say that, right? We're trying to inspire and motivate. We don't want to,
Exactly.
we're not trying to crush people. And so like, obviously if there's, whatever is going on, you're like, sometimes, you don't have the energy, but we just want to put it out there, or I would like to put it out there that it's an important thing to really strongly consider.
Yeah, all I want is for vegans to understand that this is a moral urgency and do whatever you want with that information. But please just think about it as a very urgent and serious matter, just like any other form of injustice, and then turn that to something that you're comfortable with. But I also say that I do a lot of outreach, and I'm introvert and I'm shy, and most activists that I know are actually shy and introvert. Gandhi led a nation. When he was in law school, he actually was very shy. Think about what needs to be done and then go do it. And even if you don't have the right skills and you feel like it's uncomfortable, sometimes I also want to say, just push yourself out of your comfort zone. English is not even my first language. My English is broken. It's not my native language, but I manage, you watch people who are good at it, you try different things, and you step out of your comfort zone and you figure it out. And over time, you become good at it. Once you understand that it's a moral urgency, you just use your talent, use your, money, donation. I know you wanted to get more practical, so.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask. So, people are listening to this video, maybe they're saying, I am vegan, I haven't been as active, or maybe I want to get more active, and maybe I want to in some way interface with allied scholars for animal protection. What are the ways that they can do that? There's a student at college right now and they want to get involved, what should they do?
Yeah, if you're a student at college, we are here to support you. So what we do is we provide training, we provide financial support, any equipment that you need, so we purchase that. And we go on a tour, just like what we are right now. So we want to teach students how to actually do activism. We have different types of events. You've seen that we did dog meat, ewe milk, just vegan, grab a cookie. If you're vegan, just come grab a cookie. A lot of non-vegans come and we have conversations.
So so you would actually provide like the table and the tablecloth and like the little fake like plastic meat sandwich. Okay,
all of that.
Awesome.
And graphic design. Maybe you're still a little unsure about doing dog meat, but you just really want to show a documentary about, environment. Perfect. What all you have to tell me is like, this is the date, this is the location, we do the graphic design, we send you the poster. We want to make the entire process so automated and easy for you that all you have to do is just wanting to do something. Awesome. And then we want to grow that vegan community. And I think that when you hang out with people who are like-minded, they're active, it just influences us to do more. If you just hang out with people who don't do anything, you gravitate towards that. But we want to build that community of vegans. The clubs are open to vegans and non-vegans, but because we want to bring them in and provide them with that education. So if you're a student, you can definitely contact me or allied scholars. And if you're not vegan and if you believe in this mission, you can still support us with donations, because activism in a very systematic manner in university is very neglected generally. So that would be a great help. I get to do what I do, it's because of the donations.
Yeah, that's amazing. Let's say I don't go to University of Pennsylvania, right? But I just live in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Is there any way I can support allied scholars there or support the ASAP at UPenn?
Yeah, we had a lot of volunteers who joined us. We did Anonymous for the Voiceless Cube. The two of them are actually here today helping us. We definitely need extra support because students are busy, so we want to actually provide the human power as much as we can to have a strong presence. One of my goals is to make sure that you can't walk in a university without coming across veganism. That's why you have all these signs all over.
Yeah,
it's like
you put those posters everywhere.
Yeah, it's impossible to walk around this university and just not come across vegan message. Talks, posters, all of that. So these are things that you don't have to be vegan to help us. All the events are generally open to public anyways, but having a chapter for us in that university really helps. And for that, we need students.
And is any university eligible to do this?
Yes, at first we were going by, top universities or large universities. I think that's still a factor. So when you start a chapter, if it's a larger university, that's better because obvious reasons. But I've learned that even smaller universities, when we have a very dedicated activist, it does so much more than a larger university where the student is not as active.
Okay, so what I'm hearing then is if you're at a university, contact you guys to get a chapter started. If you're not at the university, you could potentially give money. You could come and offer support by way of volunteers. And, you know, I'm thinking too, like a volunteer that lived in the city, because the student will probably graduate in 4 years, where if someone is just living in the city, they may be able to stay there for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, or maybe they just live there. And so even non-students probably offer a sort of unique value there. They can keep it going in times where maybe the population dips or something.
That's exactly one of my goals with Allied Scholars, because we study the animal rights movement in universities. First of all, most universities don't have a group, and those who have, for 2 years, one student comes, does something, and everything dies. Another 2 years, and another 2 years. And it's just so inefficient and ineffective. And everyone is doing a different thing. So my goal is to, first of all, unify all this movement. And second, make sure that there is continuity. So, because we want people, I don't want these clubs to die every single time. For that, we are here, we monitor all the deadlines, we make sure that if this student graduates, we have a backup. But the ultimate goal is actually to have one full-time person in each city or for a couple of universities, so that this full-time person can actually, like, on the ground, help all these chapters. But we also need volunteers. You're absolutely right. So people outside, they can provide extra support to make sure that, you know, the clubs stay active, because it just doesn't make any sense. Just think about most students in most universities go through the entire 4 years of college. They would never come across a vegan education and that really sucks.
Okay, I hear that what you're trying to do, you're trying to get more people to consider veganism, go vegan, you know, we're having these outreach conversations. Are there any more systemic asks that you're going for? Like anything at like a policy level or at the college level that you want to do?
Yes, so Allied Scholars has 3 pillars. One of them is outreach. And for outreach, we want to first make new vegans, because if you don't, then we're just going to run out. Second, we want to also find vegans and train them. The second pillar is education and empowerment. So we want to educate non-vegans, but we also want to empower vegans. There are a lot of vegans here. There are students that are not necessarily thinking about it as careers. So we want to say, hey man, whether you're into environment, public health, food, I don't know, art, use your art, anything. As long as you understand veganism is a moral urgency, use that in your careers. If you don't know how, that's why we are here. We have workshops, all of that. The third pillar is actually working with dining halls to make them more plant-based. At Columbia University, we are doing a 100% plant-based university campaign. So the goal here is to actually make veganism more accessible. That makes veganism even easier. So it's a positive feedback loop. Find more vegans, empower them, make new vegans, make veganism easier. And I think once you have this system in place, the more you do it, the better it should get.
Yeah, for sure. And it is, I think that's really relevant, because from just some conversations I've had back home, but like a bunch of the conversations I've had over the past 3 days here, price and convenience come up all the time. Lots of students have brought up that either the dining hall doesn't have very many options, or they're not well like advertised, or they don't taste good, or whatever, right? There's a lot of accessibility concerns around it. It seems like something that would be like a really easy pillar, really easy systemic thing to
we can change that. And the crazy thing is dining halls beg for students' comments. And guess what? Most students don't even bother, including vegans. So what I'm trying to do is that don't just complain, do something about it, right? The least we can do is just send an email and say, hey, I'm vegan, your food sucks. I'm here to help, right? How can I help? How can we work together, right? But most people don't, unfortunately, bother to do that, and that's why the change is so slow. And that's why I'm so passionate, because I know that if we actually bother to do the bare minimum, we can actually see big changes.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we do know that there's precedent for it too, at least over in the UK, right? Like 1 or 2 schools, I think, has voted to have plant exclusive.
Plant-based university campaign.
Completely, which is
so we're bringing that campaign to the US now.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are, like, Allied Scholars is partnering with them to do a plant-based university campaign in the US.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Faraz, it was awesome talking to you today. I mean, we've been talking beyond this. It was great to have you on video, to get this message out there to all the vegans who I'm sure are watching. And I just want to say thank you for what you're doing. Thanks for all your hard work. And please give Faraz a subscribe, give him a follow, check out the Allied Scholars page, check out some of the videos. And I'll be putting up videos sometime soon about some of the outreach that we've done here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
One quick thing. How was your experience? You joined us for almost a week. We've been doing activism. You've seen how students change. So what are your thoughts?
Well, as an independent contractor.
And if you want to help me make this my full-time career, check out the Patreon in the description. And shout out to Ryan O'Neill, Tom Eisenbeiss, NetBase News, Monstar, David Yastrzemski, and Maxwell Edison.